All right, let's go ahead and start with our prayer before study. Christ, my Lord, the giver of light and wisdom, who opened the eyes of the blind man and transformed the fishermen into wise heralds and teachers of the gospel through the coming of the Holy Spirit, shine also in my mind the light of the grace of the Holy Spirit. Grant me discernment, understanding, and wisdom in learning. Enable me to complete my assignments and to abound in every good work. For to you I give honor and glory. Amen. Most blessed Lord, send the grace of your Holy Spirit on me to strengthen me, that I may learn well the subject I am about to study, and by it become a better person for your glory, the comfort of my family, and the benefit of your church and our nation. Amen. All right. This was not a very festive series of plays, I feel, and the one I'm going to ask you to read over Christmas is even less festive, but that is just where we came to in our year. I have papers for you. Thank you. Very, very informative. Especially not to diss you at all, but I learned so much from your paper. I had no idea. I never thought about the pressuring. Is that what that's called? But it totally makes sense. I've seen a bunch of those. I don't want those anymore. So anyway, I hope you had fun just rambling on about something you enjoy. Obviously, that is what Herodotus didn't ramble on. I feel like he had a point, but also you don't write a book like that and not have an interest in your subject. You guys have papers for me, correct? Very good. All righty, thank you. This can be my fun over Christmas activity, just reading people's papers. About, said Herodotus. We have a art of the week. We'll hold it up here. It's kind of, it's kind of dark in here, isn't it? I don't want to turn this light on because I feel like it'll glare in the thing. I'll pass it around. This is a charioteer. These are the reins that used to be attached to other statues of the chariot. And this arm is gone. It's unfortunate, but this one's still there holding the reins. This was dedicated at the temple at Delphi to Apollo. And actually we know who dedicated it. It was dedicated by Polyzelos of Gila because he won the chariot race at the Pythian Games. And so which is the athletic event that's there at Delphi, the Pythian Games. Anyway. And it dates to about the time that Aeschylus is writing these plays, about 10 years after the Battle of Salamis and Thermopylae, if you want to take a look. For years I thought it was a girl. Doesn't it kind of seem feminine? But it's a guy. Would you wear that if you were driving a chariot in a race? I feel like not. But hey, he's wearing clothes. So no loincloths required. Let's cut this guy some slack. Anyway, I took that picture. There's a museum there at Delphi of all the stuff they found there. A lot of it's been pillaged. You can just put it on the floor there, Liam. A lot of it's been pillaged and taken. Anything that was of monetary value, if it was made of gold or any sort of precious stone or metal, it was taken away and probably melted down a long time ago. Some statues were taken to Constantinople later, and they're still there, but we know they came from Delphi. That one, though, either was there or got buried, and they found it later, or parts of it. All right. Last week, I asked you to think about how we're going to fix this problem. We have a problem, and it is that when you kill someone, someone else gets mad, and they bring their revenge to you. But then by getting rid of you, they've made someone else mad, and you get a family feud or a generational issue. And in the case of Atreus, they're calling it a curse on the house. This just popped in my head. Do you think we need to call it a curse from the gods to explain it? Okay, not the Tantalus Pelops part, but starting with Atreus. Do we need divine or satanic help to make Aegisthus angry? Uncle Atreus cooked his brothers. And then, do we need divine or satanic, demonic help to explain why Clytemnestra would be angry? He killed their daughter. Buddy, you killed our daughter just so your war could get a move on. They call it the curse of the house. But is this just what happens, maybe, sometimes? You know, with no outside forces. People get angry and people take revenge and people do things, and maybe not always murdering them, but people do nasty things in retaliation. Is it a curse or is it just the law of human nature? But they've got a problem, and at the beginning of the libation bearers, they recognize there's a problem. I'm going to try to interweave what I want to talk about with our questions that I asked you. First of all, why does Electra come to Agamemnon's tomb? And by the way, at the beginning of the play, we're told several years have passed since Agamemnon's death. So picture those several years. Argos in this play has been living under Aegisthus. Remember? What was Aegisthus like at the end of Agamemnon? What was his attitude? What sort of things did he say?
I'm the new king.
I'm the new king, and if you don't like it, yeah. Tough for you. And if you don't listen to me and do what I want, oh, we have ways of making you do what I want. And it's not going to be pretty. You're not going to enjoy it. This guy's been in charge for several years. Not to mention the queen is the lady who just murdered your former king. This is what they've been suffering under. So, okay. So why does Electra come to the tomb? To bear libations. And remember, this just means pouring out a drink offering of some sort. In this case, it would be just on the ground, in prayer. So she comes to bear libations. Who sent her? Say again, Miriam.
I can't remember how to say her name, but her mom.
Her mom, Clytemnestra. That's fine. But here's the other thing. Why did she come? Because her mom sent her to bring libations. But why is her mom sending her to bear libations now?
She had a dream.
Go ahead.
She felt guilty about.
Apparently she's having bad dreams, which she should. And her conscience is eating away at her. Did it sound like in the first play she thought she was totally in the right? They wheel out the body. Here he is. I did it. I'm not ashamed to say I did it. He deserved it. But several years down the road, she's not so sure. So she sent Electra and the chorus, who in this case are the women of the house, to bear a libation to the tomb. All right. And picture the problem. She shows up. Mom wants me to go pray at Father's tomb for peace and health and whatever to the guy she murdered. What's that prayer going to sound like? Oh, Dad. Finish it for me. Anybody. What's she going to, how's she going to address him? What's she going to say? Mom wants what? Yeah. Oh, please forgive Mom for murdering you brutally. Please send peace. She doesn't know what to say. She just doesn't know what to say. It's all right, Emily. Just a second, let me find. What kindness, what prayer can touch my Father? Shall I say I bring him love for love? A woman's love for husband? My mother? Love from her? I've no taste for that. No words to say as I run the honeyed oil on Father's tomb. Or try the salute we often use at graves. A wreath for a wreath. Now bring the giver's gifts to match. No, give them pain for pain. That's what she wants to pay for. The chorus says, bristling terror struck the seer of the house, the nightmare ringing clear, breathed its wrath in sleep. In the midnight watch a cry. The proud dead stir under the earth. They rage against the ones who took their lives. But justice waits and turns the scales. It breeds revenge. All right. So what are their options? Pray for peace, that peace will come. But what do they really want? What does Electra really want to happen? Vengeance. Bring somebody back to take revenge. Then everything will be fine. Right. I just want to go back and look at something that was in the first play. If I can find it. Clytemnestra says, a few things are all I need. Once I have purged our fury to destroy each other, purged it from our halls. Did she? Their fury to destroy each other? Did she put it into it? No, because a few years later, here they are at the tomb praying for someone to come and take revenge. How does Electra know that Orestes has come home?
She finds like the locks of hair on the tomb.
Yes. By the way, this is a thing, a Greek thing, Roman too. Cut a bit of your hair as an offering and lay it on the tomb. What else does she find? A footprint. And so she found a footprint. Big deal. What's special about this footprint? Somebody was walking. What's special about this footprint?
Like the same size as hers.
It's exactly the same size and shape as hers. And what's interesting about the hair?
It's the same as hers.
It's exactly the same as her hair. And the footprint is exactly the same as my footprint. So it must be Orestes. My brother must be home. And this will be the answer to all of our problems. And Orestes actually says exactly what she wants to hear, because who has told Orestes to kill Clytemnestra and Aegisthus? Apollo. Love it when the gods tell you to do what you already want to do. You already want it to happen. And apparently, Apollo used some pretty strong threats and language with Orestes. He says, I can still hear the god, a high voice ringing with winters of disaster, piercing the heart within me, warm and strong, unless I hunt my father's murderers, cut them down in their own style. Gore them like a bull, he said, or pay their debt with your own life. One long career of grief. What did Apollo just threaten him with? Yes. Gore them like a bull or pay the debt with your own life. One long career of grief. He revealed so much about us, told how the dead take root beneath the soil, they grow with hate and plague the lives of men. It was on all the terrible things that happen when you don't revenge the dead. And the chorus likes the sound of this. Word for word, curse for curse, be born now, justice thunders. Hungry for retribution, stroke for bloody stroke be paid. The one who acts must suffer. 3 generations strong, the word resounds. Great. The one who acts must suffer. Except Clytemnestra acted, and now she must suffer. What do they want Orestes to do? Act. The one who acts must suffer? Where does that end? This goes along with these lines I put in your reading guide. It is the law. When the blood of slaughter wets the ground, it wants more blood. Slaughter cries for the fury of those long dead to bring destruction on destruction churning in its wake. What is the law? It's not, by the way, it is the law. Does this mean it's written down in a book somewhere? It is, no. So I call it law of nature. If you wanted to name this law that's being described, like the law of gravity is the law that when I trip, I fall down. And when I drop the glass, it breaks, because this happens, both of these things happen frequently to me. What is this law?
Somebody will always want revenge.
Yeah. So the law of revenge, the law of retribution. This is not something that only the Greeks struggled with, by the way. Does anybody remember or know what provision was made for this in the Old Testament? Because sometimes deaths happen. Sometimes murders happen.
Were they like safe cities that you could run to?
There were safe cities. There were cities of refuge. He said, I want you to set up, I think it was 6 total, cities of refuge. And if you kill someone, you go there. And they hear, you tell them what happened. And because sometimes it's accidental. Our law recognizes that too, right? We have manslaughter. It's accidental. And so God made provision for the Israelites because he knew this third thing happens. You accidentally, kill somebody. But the family of the killed person doesn't care that it's an accident. And they come for you. But then it goes back and forth. So God said, look, if they listen to your case and they say, you know what, this was an accident, fine. But you got to stay in the city for the rest of your life. You got to live there. You can't leave, because if they find you outside the city, they're allowed to kill you. Okay. What does Clytemnestra threaten Orestes with if he kills her? Or what does she threaten will happen?
The mother's curse.
You will bring down the mother's curse on you if you kill me. I will haunt you, basically. I'm trying to find it. Okay, there he's talking to her there. Yes, watch out. The hounds of a mother's curse will hunt you down. And he answers, but how to escape a father's if I fail? Do you feel sorry for Orestes? What's the right thing for him to do? From our modern perspective, let it go and move on. Should we hold him and Aeschylus to that same standard, that that's what we would do today? Why would we do that, Miriam? Why would we think that's the right answer today? What's different about us?
We don't go around killing people.
We don't go around killing people. It's a good thing. Why don't we go around killing people?
Because it's wrong and there are laws that stop us from doing it.
Okay, so you gave me two reasons, right? Those are two different reasons. Because could something be the law? Could a law be wrong? I mean, could a law be a law mistakenly? Sure. In a perfect world, right, the laws that are written down and what's right and wrong would be the same. They would match, but it's not a perfect world. So we have laws. Why did we put those laws in place in the first place? In other words, what made somebody think that's wrong?
Because too many people did it. Right now.
Okay, perhaps. We certainly look in the past and we say it's not effective, but what? Okay, we've got a lot of ideas floating around. I want to go back to Liam's in a minute. I said it's not effective. First of all, does whether or not something is effective make it right or wrong? Hopefully not. Hopefully we all see that it could be useful, but not right. There's a difference, okay. Liam, you said it's not just. Why not? It seems very just to me. Like you killed somebody, buddy, you're going to die.
Yeah, but then it just keeps going on. So it has to end at some point. And there should be justice, but the justice, you're not the one that's, you have to have the third person that's the judge.
Oh. Because, we do execute murderers in this country. Not every murderer, but under special circumstances. The government, which is really all of us, as a society, have said that's a horrendous thing, and the only thing that can atone for that is for you to die. But I don't decide that. And Liam doesn't decide that. And Miriam doesn't decide that. Someone else decides that. This is a very, very good place to ask the question of the day because we've already answered it. How do we put an end to this curses, feuds, bloodshed? How does Aeschylus say we put an end to it? And you've actually already answered the question.
Somebody else decide who's innocent.
Somebody else needs to decide. Society, the city, is going to have to decide. This is kind of shocking. It's not to us. And we never finished up that thread. What's different about us that we say, taking the law, we would say, into your own hands, and just going and killing someone is wrong. Why do we say it's wrong? I know it's against the law, but what's different about us?
We value life more than we used to
And why?
because life is precious and you only have it one time.
But that was true for them too, right?
Yeah, but they didn't think that as much because they weren't as, I don't know, they weren't as aware as we are.
And what makes us aware?
Knowledge and education and history.
Knowledge of what in particular that they didn't have?
God.
$100,000 answer. Christianity says you don't murder people. You don't just take it upon yourself to dish out justice. This is Lord of the Rings, right? If you're familiar, Frodo says it's just a crying shame that Bilbo didn't kill Gollum when he had the chance. And Gandalf says, you know, some people that deserve to live die. And some people, the opposite. I was going to say the same thing the other way. Some people live that deserve to die. Some people die that deserve to live. But can you give them life? Then you better not be too quick to deal out death and be the judge. It's a awesome, and I mean that in the old-fashioned way, it's an awe-inspiring thing to be the judge. So, okay. So, Orestes obeys Apollo. By the way, how would you feel about Orestes? Does it change your feeling at all, the fact that he was ordered by a god to do it? What if at the beginning of this play he just showed up and said, I've had enough of this. I'm not putting up with this anymore. I detest her and she's got to go.
I think she still deserved it either way.
And let's hold on to that. I don't want to address that yet. It doesn't make you, it wouldn't make you more anti-Orestes. It's interesting. We said at the beginning of this talk, though, that we kind of don't have much trouble explaining away her anger, Clytemnestra's anger. But you think she deserves to die.
But then also Orestes deserved to die because he's doing the exact same thing as Clytemnestra did.
But he was told by somebody. that
See,
Well,
that's
even
why.
if he wasn't, but we're talking about if he wasn't.
And I'm still saying,
Yeah.
if he wasn't, then he might still deserve to die, but she deserved to die. And then he should die from a third person that's not related to the blood feud. He has to bring vengeance either way, even if someone told him to or not. But then he still probably deserves to die if someone didn't tell him to do it, but not by someone in his family.
So the someone not in his family makes a difference.
Yes.
The third party. Okay. Well, as we know, because we read the play, he does kill them both. And what happens almost immediately? What happens to Orestes almost immediately after the murder of his mother? The Furies come after him. The mother's curse is unleashed. And apparently, they are pretty hideous to look at. Where is Orestes? This is on the Eumenides. This is the next play. Where does Orestes go? Then at the end of the libation bearers, at the beginning of the Eumenides, where is he? He goes to Apollo, and why is he going there?
To be redeemed.
To be redeemed, to be purified. Do you remember was the guy, it was a story in Herodotus. I think it was the king Astyages, but I don't remember. And he was the one with 2 sons, and one of them couldn't talk. And he only talked that one time, don't kill the king or whatever, and yelled out. But the older son, the other son, was awesome, and great hunter and fighter. And but this king had a dream or a prophecy that his son would be killed by iron, by a spear point of some sort. Well, in the meantime, this guy came to court, and he came from another country, and this is the important part of the story. He says he killed someone back home, and he was coming to be purified. And so he went to the king, and there was a religious ritual they did that purified him of the murder. It's kind of like going to a third party. Well, then they were going to go on this big hunt, but the king didn't want his son to go, and his son's like, but it says that I'm going to be killed by iron, and wild boars don't throw spears, so I'm good. And then they surround the wild boar, and this guy that they purified from blood guilt misses the boar and hits the son and kills him. And he comes back and he says, you purified me from one murder, and then I went out and killed your son. Do you kind of remember this story a little bit? There were a lot of stories in Herodotus. This is what he wants to happen here. I'm going to go to this place, and I'm going to be purified of the blood guilt, because I was only obeying Apollo. So we meet the priestess of Apollo. She comes out and she's praying, and then she goes in. She comes back out, and she's pale, she's shaken, and she says, terrors, terrors to tell, terrors all can see. They send me reeling back from Apollo's house. She says, I see a man, an abomination to God. He holds the seat where suppliants sit for purging. In other words, to be purified. His hands dripping blood, and his sword just drawn. He holds a branch wreathed by a tuft of wool. These are signs that you want to be purified, signs of a suppliant. But in a ring round the man, women? No, gorgons, I'd call them. But then with gorgons, you'd see the grim, inhuman. And then she says, it reminds her of a picture she saw years ago of harpies. Their eyes ooze a discharge, sickening. Their heavy, rasping breathing makes me cringe. She said, this is his concern. Apollo, master of this house, the mighty power. Healer, prophet, diviner of signs. He purges the halls of others. He must purge his own. And she leaves, and and the doors open up, and the audience can see what she has described. Funny story. It's a funny story. The story is that when they first performed this play, the get-up, the masks, and the outfits of the Furies were so horrifying it made people in the audience pass out. I want this to be true, because it amuses me. That it was shocking. Where does Apollo, so Apollo purges him, and where does he send him? Where is he supposed to go? To Athena, to Athens, to the Acropolis. It's the Areopagus. He sends him on, and then Apollo has some very, very harsh words for the Furies. Not very nice. You revolt the gods. Your look, your whole regalia gives you away. Your kind should infest a lion's cavern reeking blood, but never rub your filth on the prophet's shrine. You don't belong in a place like this, in a place like my temple. Okay. I want to go back and look what this priestess was saying at the beginning. She comes out and she's praying, and she says, "First of the gods I honor in my prayer is Mother Earth. The first of the gods to prophesy. And next, I praise tradition. Second, to hold her mother's mantic seat." Mantic means of prophecy. So legend says, and third by the lots of destiny, by tradition's free will, another Titan, child of the earth, took her seat, and Phoebe passed it on as a birthday gift to Phoebus, who is Apollo. First it was Mother Earth, first to prophesy, then this one, then passed down through Titans, and then came to Apollo finally. In other words, there have been generations of prophets. Now, tell me what you remember or know about the Olympian gods, about Zeus. Was Zeus always the king of the gods? How did he get to be king if he wasn't always the king? Okay, he got rid of his dad, Cronus / Saturn. Right? So he's next generation. He wasn't the original God. How do the generations of the gods behave towards each other? In other words, badly, to say the least. In other words, one generation bumps off the next. And this is a play about a guy who just bumped off his mom, who bumped off his dad with the help of the guy who was angry at the previous generation. The gods do it too. And she says, these new gods, like Zeus and Apollo, they tamed the savage country, civilized the wilds. Right? So Apollo, when he comes in and he's looking at the Furies, here's what he calls him. He says, he says, they disgust me. These gray, ancient children, never touched by God, man, or beast. He calls them ancient. And then they answer him back and they say, young God, you have ridden down the powers proud with age. You worship the suppliant, the godless man who tears his parents' heart. You young God. Now, what is the proverbial... How does the older generation feel about the younger generation? What sort of things? Okay, maybe your grandparents don't say these things, but what are the proverbial things that old people say to young people? Kids these days. And back in my day, we didn't behave like that. We didn't do that sort of stuff. We had it hard. You kids, you don't know what it's like to have a hard life, right? And again, I don't know that any older person in your life actually says these things. Maybe they do. Now, it's your turn though. What do the young people say about the old people?
Old-fashioned.
Oh, old-fashioned. Get with the times, Grandma. I'm sorry. This is going to be my... I don't know who this is. No. We got a phone call. Just let it go. It doesn't ring very many times. We got a phone call from a guy, and I said, I don't know this person. And it turns out it was a high school classmate of my husband's. That they wrestled together. And you gotta understand, my husband's 60, gonna be 62 years old. This was a long time ago. And I said if it was him again, I'd pick up, but who it was? Okay, what was I saying? What are the young people? Okay, old-fashioned, get with the times. What else do young people say about the older generation?
They're seen.
Well, that's not very nice, Henley. Sometimes it's true. Let's not go that far. Let's not go to the senile level, but a level below senile. Wow.
They're losing it.
Well, that's not a very big level below senile. Okay, what's something that might exasperate all of you about older people? That they do or say or can't do?
Can't play football.
They can't move around.
You need to hang out with other old people, Henley. Again, they're not 120, these old people. No, this is an easy question if you think about it. What's something that people my age will say? Don't, or a little older than me, have trouble doing or understanding. Technology. My uncle and aunt still can't set the time on their VCR, which they still have a VCR. We do too. Because we have a bunch of tapes. Anyway, or the DVD player or whatever. They don't know how. My grandparents never had a VCR back when VCRs were new. We just set the time for them every time we visited them. And if the power goes out, it's gone. It's done. We don't know how to set the time. And you help them if you're a nice grandchild, but you also secretly mock them in your own mind or behind their backs. We know it. We know it. All right. Okay. Transfer all of those ideas and feelings to an older generation of gods and a younger generation, right? You ancient gods, you're just so annoying. You gods, the Furies. What are you all about? You're all about, oh, we just murder people left and right. If you do something bad, then someone takes revenge on you, and that's just the way the world works. Tough. And then a picture of these older gods. Oh, you young whippersnapper gods. He just murdered his mom, and you just let him go. You just helped him. You just let him go. What? You don't understand how things work. Do you see the problem? Because how has it always been? The one who acts must suffer. It's justice. It makes complete and utter sense. And I'm just oh so sorry that there's no end to it. That's why it must be rough to be human. So glad I'm not a human and I'm one of the ancient gods, but that's the way it works. The favorite line in one of my kids' favorite movies, that's the way the wretched world is, girl. We pull that line out repeatedly. It's from Dragonheart, in case you wanted to know. Fortunately for Orestes, the young gods agree with Liam about how we bring an end to this. What are they going to do in Athens when they go to Athena? They're going to have a trial. Let's bring in people, those third parties, who can judge this with a clear head. Again, we feel, duh, yes, that's what you do. That's not what they always used to do. And Athena, what is Athena the goddess of, by the way? What is she known for? Wisdom. It takes wisdom to decide what punishments should be and make a judgment call. Okay, so that is basically what I was looking for with how does Athena decide the guilt or innocence of Orestes should be decided. We are going to have a trial. So, here, I want to, just a second. I don't want to forget to talk about this. Athena comes back to Athens. She's been traveling, apparently, and sees the Furies, who are saying, dancing around Orestes at the altar there in Athens, saying, "We declare our right to steer the lives of men. We all conspire. We dance. We are the just and upright. We maintain. Hold out your hands. If they are clean, no fury of ours will stalk you. You will go through life unscathed. But show us the guilty, one like this, who hides his reeking hands. And up from the outraged dead we rise, witness bound to avenge their blood. We rise in flames against him to the end." We're just. We are justice. All right. So Athena shows up and she says, "Oh, I've heard someone calling for help. And who are you?" Now, I just told you, how did Apollo's priestess react when she saw the Furies?
Disgusted.
Ew, oh, my eyes. All right. How did Apollo react to the Furies?
And put him to sleep.
Yeah, and said, you're all disgusting. Athena shows up. Listen to her reaction. "And I see some new companions on the land. Who are you? I address you all as one. You, the stranger seated at my idol," which would be Orestes, "and you, like no one born of the sown seed, no goddess watched by the gods, no mortal either. Not to judge by your looks, at least, your features. Wait, I call my neighbors into question. They've done nothing wrong. It offends the rights. It violates tradition." Can you put that in modern parlance for me? Athena says, "Oh, you're like no one born of man or gods. Wait, I call my neighbors into question. They've done nothing wrong. It offends the rights. It violates tradition." What does she mean? What is she saying? It's kind of funny.
Looks like they're not human.
Yeah, she said that at the beginning, yes. Something like, I don't know who you are, but to judge by your looks, then this part, wait. Yeah, I shouldn't be trash talking these visitors to my town, but they're hideous. Keep in mind, they're hideous. It violates traditions. I shouldn't say terrible things about my neighbors. The leader of the Furies says, "You will learn it all, young daughter of Zeus." Cut to a few words. "We are the everlasting children of the night. Deep in the halls of earth, they call us curses." Athena says, "Oh, now I know your birth, your rightful name." And the leader says, "But not our powers, and you will learn them quickly." She says, "I can accept the facts. Just tell them clearly." And they say, "Destroyers of life. We drive them from their houses." And Athena says, "And the murderer's flight, where does it all end?" The answer is where there is no joy. The word's never used. So they say he murdered his mother. It's unjust. And she says, "Two sides are here and only half is heard." What does she mean? Two sides are here and only half is heard.
She's only telling one side of the story.
Yeah. I've only heard one side of the story. I haven't heard Orestes tell me. Because before that third party can judge, you got to hear both sides. It's only fair. And the leader doesn't like this, though. But the oath, he will neither take the oath nor give it. No, his will is set. He won't say he's guilty, he won't say he's innocent. She says, and you are set on the name of justice rather than the act. What does that mean? You Furies, you're set on the name of justice, not on the act.
They're not going with the spirit of the law. They're just going with the word it says.
Well, he killed his mother, so we're going to drive him crazy and drive him from his home. Case closed. It's just. For a guy who was avenging his dad and ordered by Apollo to do it, you got to hear the other side. Like, no, we don't want to hear the other side. It's justice. It's justice. Yeah, I like the way you phrased it. When we say people are following the letter of the law, but not the spirit. This isn't a very good one. Why are all my examples about your mother telling you not to eat cookies? You must have the idea that my children grew up with me just running through the house saying, don't eat those cookies. I don't know. Yeah, because they're good. You know, don't touch those cookies. It's like, okay, you grab a cookie and feed it to me so I don't touch it. No, that is not, it's not the spirit. It might be the letter, but not the spirit. Okay, so we need to hear the other side. What does Orestes fully admit to having done, and what does he not admit? What does he say? Oh, I did this. Oh, I killed her. I killed her. I'm not trying to deny that. What does he deny?
That he was wrong to do.
That it was wrong. That it was wrong. So Athena says, too large a matter, some may think, for mortal men to judge. But by all rights, not even I should decide a case of murder. Above all, the rites have tamed your wildness. The rites, the purification rites. A suppliant cleansed, you bring my house no harm. If you are innocent, I'd adopt you for my city. And she turns to the Furies. But they have their destiny too. Hard to dismiss. And if they fail to win their day in court, how will it spread? The venom of their pride, plague everlasting blights our land. So it stands, a crisis either way. They've both got a point. Embrace the one, expel the other, it defeats me, says Athena. But since the matter comes to rest on us, I will appoint the judges of manslaughter, swear them in, and found a tribunal here for all time to come. So this is the place for all time where doubtful issues are going to be tried. We are going to be the place known for justice. Later, she says, yes, now and forevermore, for Aegeus's people, this will be the court where judges reign. This is the crag of Ares, the Areopagus. Mars Hill is how that's translated in the Bible. When sometimes Paul is where he preaches to the Athenians. Athens is going to be the gold standard for justice. Okay. However, there's some kind of wonky arguments going on in this trial. First of all, why did the Furies not attack Clytemnestra? Why did they say, because she killed somebody. It
wasn't her own blood.
Okay, it wasn't technically her own blood that she shed. Yeah, the blood of the man she killed was not her own. Does that sound just to you? We're the Furies, and we'll curse people, but only if you actually kill your family members. But if you're only related by marriage, technically it's not the same family, so we'll let that go. I like Kinley's. What? No, that's what we should be. That's the face we should be making. Wait. it's worse. I mean, it kind of is, but all right, that's their argument. Oh, Orestes deserves to be punished because he shed family blood. What is Apollo's odd defense?
That it doesn't matter because his mother is basically just an incubator.
Yeah, she's not really. Mothers aren't related to you. See, this makes everybody laugh when they get to this part of the play. What? What? They say, Apollo says, the woman you call the mother of the child is not the parent, just a nurse to the seed, the new sown seed that grows and swells inside her. The man is the source of life. Here's the thing, women aren't really parents. Only men are parents. I give you proof that all I say is true, says Apollo. This is the moment, you know, in the movie, where the trial or the TV show, right? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I give you my definitive proof. Here's the proof. The father can father forth without a mother. Here she stands, our living witness. Look, exhibiting Athena. Child sprung full blown from Olympian Zeus, never bred in the darkness of the womb, but such a stock no goddess could conceive. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Exhibit A, Athena, who has no mother. Case closed. Are you convinced? If you could time travel it and go back to this trial, what would you have said instead of that if you had been Apollo? Or you're writing this play?
I told him to do it.
Thank you, Liam. I told him to do it. So if you have a problem, you deal with me. I like that argument. Mothers aren't really parents. If you decide to go into law, don't use that as a defense ever. It's not good. All right, that's it. However, how does the trial turn out, and who casts the deciding vote?
Orestes is not found not guilty.
Yes, and who decides it?
Athena.
Athena, because the votes come in equal. It's tied, and she says she will be the trial breaker, or the tiebreaker. I will cast my lot for you. No mother gave me birth. I honor the male in all things but marriage. This is also a little problematic. I feel like the evidence preponderates on the side of Orestes. Like, yeah, I always vote for the men. Also, if you're ever on a jury, don't use that. All right, it's not as satisfying as I wish. Do you think Orestes should be acquitted? Miriam, I don't know. You too? He murdered his mother. Seems extreme. So, and they lived happily ever after. Is that where we stand? Who's not going to be happy with this outcome? Furies. You young whippersnapper gods. You just dissed me publicly. And this is basically what they said. You younger gods. You have ridden down the ancient laws, wrenched them from my grasp, and I, robbed of my birthright, suffering great with wrath, I loose my poison over the soil. Oh, you'll pay. You'll all pay for this. How does Athena deal with this? This is basically the last question I asked you. Anything that you wrote for that?
She makes them the guards of Athens.
Okay, makes them guards.
I was gonna say she offered them a new role.
Okay, gives them a new role. You can have a new job. Not so disgusting. Maybe we'll tidy you up a little bit. Because can we have a city? And I don't, a society. Okay, I mean by that, I don't mean like the Quad Cities or Orient or whatever. But can we live in civilization together under the old laws? Just, hey, if they kill a family member, just go kill them. Some of you might remember from last year the Shepherdsons and the Grangerfords, who had been killing each other for so long. I mean, Buck didn't even know really which side started it or why at this point. It's just what we do. And it doesn't end well. It didn't end well in Huck Finn. It's never going to end well. We just can't live with other people like that, without that third party, right? Without law and without judges. But this is a rhetorical question. It's not a very nice thing to ask you to admit. But imagine someone kills a family member dear to you. What do you want to see happen? I want them to be punished. It still wells up in us, right? Even though we're supposed to have mercy and forgiveness. That's what we're called on in this new code as Christians. But that's hard. And I don't know, I feel like it's only saint level for that to be your first reaction. So we've got to do something with that urge, right? Those furies have to be appeased. And Athena, she doesn't get the goddess of wisdom title for nothing. She says, you have your power, you are goddesses, but not to overturn, but not to turn on the world of men and ravage it past cure. But I can't read today. I put my trust in Zeus, and must I add this? I am the only god who knows the keys to the armory where his lightning bolt is sealed. No need of that, not here. Ladies, you're goddesses. No one's going to try to take that status from you. And oh, by the way, I do happen to know where the keys to the thunderbolts are. We don't need to mention that, though, do we? What did she just do?
She flexed on him.
She did. She starts by persuading them. Oh, ladies, and you know, not that I'd mention it, but happen to know where the thunderbolts are. Have access. We don't need to go there. And she brings them into the system that desire for revenge. We get it, right? The people go to prison. If everything works the way it's supposed to, that person's going to lose his freedom for the rest of his life. And that's the way we can live in society. We have to rely on that. I don't know. Does this make you feel, oh, yay for civilization and law? Or do you feel kind of, you know, the arguments were weak? Were you surprised by the direction things went? Pulling out trial by jury? I want to ask you something completely different. And by the way, I feel like this is what Aeschylus is telling us. I want to remind you guys something. This is the only trilogy we have left. These 3 plays were all performed together at the same time, at the same festival. So it's telling a complete story. This is the only one we have left. This is what it was like, apparently. A trilogy unfolding a story on a theme. And Aeschylus's prize-winning theme here was how do we deal with the ancient blood feud society, and how do we bring it into the modern world? There's another theme that runs through this, though. I want to go back and read, and I just want to know what your opinion is. I'm not fishing for anything. Okay. This is in the first play, Agamemnon, and the chorus says, Zeus has led us on to know, the helmsman lays it down as law, that we must suffer into truth. And then I think it's on the very next page. They say this, justice turns the balanced scales, sees that we suffer, and we learn. And we will know the future when it comes. And just in case we thought that Aeschylus had abandoned this whole suffering thing, Orestes shows up in Athens, and the Furies are dancing around him, and he says, I have suffered into truth. Same words. And then the Furies, when they're being brought around, say, there's a time when terror helps. The watchman must stand guard upon the heart. It helps at times to suffer into truth. What do you think this means? I mean, these are the 4 that I marked in this trilogy. Remember, at one festival, these plays performed all together, he tells us at least 4 times that there's a connection between suffering and truth. What's the connection? Can you think of an example? It doesn't have to be a big example. Have you ever learned something by suffering?
Oh yeah. I don't think it was the truth, but like to not hang on basketball.
Oh my
rims.
gosh.
Okay, did you fall? Oh, is that what happened to your arm?
Yeah.
This is a very good example. You tell a small child, I'm not telling you're not a small child, but don't touch the candle flame. Don't touch the stove, right? And if the world were a perfect place, the child would listen. The child does not always listen. But I tell you what, one burned hand, oh, they won't do that again. We all know it. We've all had a Henley moment, a moment of suffering into truth, I feel like. And it is a truth. Don't hang on the basketball. It doesn't have to be an earth-shattering truth. It can just be a small truth. A little bit bigger truth is ovens are hot. This is a good thing to know in life. So connect it to this all 3 of these plays. Who suffers and learns something? And what does he suffer, and what do you think he learns?
He suffers because he has to kill his mom and his dad was murdered. And he learns that maybe revenge is not always like the best thing to do, I guess.
Is that you're not going to be able to do it and be untouched, are you? The Furies will come for you. Metaphorically, I don't think literally. I don't literally believe in the Furies anyway, but what evidence do we have that metaphorical Furies are coming for Clytemnestra? This takes us back at the very first question that we talked about today. Yes, well done, gentlemen. Looking back. What evidence do we have that some sort of vengeance was coming after Clytemnestra?
She wanted peace.
She wanted peace. She was having bad dreams. This set the whole libation bearers into motion. Did she think she was right? 100%. But there's things you can't do and not be haunted by. Orestes is literally haunted. Who else might have suffered and learned and found truth? I guess we've named two. We just said Clytemnestra also suffers, apparently, bad dreams. Orestes suffers. Does anyone else suffer, or at least feel like they're suffering? The Furies. Hey, you're overruling my job. I have one reason for existing. Track down murders, but only if you kill blood relatives. But maybe they don't have to live that way anymore. Maybe they can be honored and give them new jobs, new roles, right? What? Do you think if Adam and Eve hadn't sinned, they would have had to suffer to learn things? Do you think they would have suffered? I'm not baiting you with a...
No. Because if they hadn't sinned, they would have never eaten something.
Do you think the way things are now that we learn any better way? It'd be nice if we could learn a better way. I don't know. I'll just leave that with you to ponder over. You can ponder suffering over Christmas. Well, we'll have the slaughter of the innocents in between Christmas and New Year's. You know, you can ponder the suffering. It's interesting to me that the right off the bat, the first thing we hear about the arrival of the Messiah, of Jesus incarnate, is it comes with a lot of suffering. All those baby boys and all those moms. The voice of Rachel calling and refuses to be comforted because her children are no more. All right. I want to tell you a little bit about the next play. I'm going to tell you the story simply because everybody who went to see this play knew the story. So it doesn't spoil it in any way for you because it's what the playwright did with it. But first, before you put your books away, turn to page 63. Our next playwright is named Sophocles. Look at his dates, 496 to 406. This guy lived to be 90. And his life spanned, think about it, he was 6 years old when the Battle of Marathon happened. 16 when Salamis and Thermopylae happened. And he saw that whole century as it wound through the greatness of Athens and then the big war between Athens and Sparta that we're going to be talking about. He lived through this whole thing and wrote plays the whole time. He was born in a suburb of Athens. He once, he would have been a teenager, right, leading the chorus of boys at the celebration of the victory of Salamis. He wrote 123 plays that we know of, and we only have 7. That's not a good percentage. And we're reading 3 of them together. He was well known, famous. He was general, treasurer of the Delian League that we'll talk about later, member of the ruling class of Athens. His first victory in the Dionysia, which is the theatrical contest, was in 468 when he beat Aeschylus, the author of these plays. He won 19 times. He got the bright idea of what if we bring a third person out on stage, and then instead of just 2 people talking, it's like you have 3 people that can talk to each other plus the chorus. And we are going to read his 3 plays about Oedipus. I put the dates that they were written. We're not going to read them in that order. We're going to read Oedipus the King or Oedipus Rex first, and it's the middle play. These are not a trilogy. They tell the story of Oedipus's life, but they weren't all written at the same time. Apparently, Sophocles was just really into this story, and he spent 40 years mulling over this story and writing plays about it. And I put here, as you read, ask yourself, what has Oedipus done wrong? Did he do it knowingly and willingly, and could it have been avoided? So I will just tell you, you probably already know. This is a pretty famous story, but I will just briefly tell you so you can be in the same state as everyone who went to see this play the first time. And by the way, this is your assignment for January. Read Oedipus the King or Oedipus Rex. It's a very fast-paced play. There's lots of back and forth dialogue, not a lot of long, super long speeches, just lots of quick dialogue, and it's very lively. The plot rolls really fast. It's quite enjoyable to read, and it will not be a burden. Okay, here's the story. Once upon a time, the king and queen of Corinth had a son. His name was Oedipus. And Oedipus was insulted by someone who insinuated that the king and queen of Corinth weren't really his parents. And so he went to the oracle at Delphi to find out what's the deal. And the oracle did not answer his question, but said, "You are going to kill your father and marry your mother." He said, "Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to just leave home. I'm not going home to Corinth. I'm going to stay away from my parents for the rest of my life, and that can't happen." So he goes traveling, and as he's traveling, he comes to a place where 3 roads meet together. And someone else is there. It's a guy traveling with his entourage. He seems rather important. And Oedipus is in the road, and this guy's entourage is in the road, and this guy kind of yells at him to get out of the way and kind of whacks him with his stick a little bit, and it ticks Oedipus off. And Oedipus just kills them all. All right. So he keeps traveling, and he heads towards Thebes, which isn't far from this crossroad place. And Thebes is having a bad time because there's a monster called the Sphinx just outside of town. And everybody that comes towards town, it asks them a riddle. And if you don't answer it, it kills you. So this is kind of bad for commerce in Thebes, right? Nobody really wants to go to Thebes. But Oedipus answers the riddle. Good for him. And the Sphinx is so disappointed that it just flings itself off a cliff and kills itself. I know. Dude, just hold on. You can get somebody else. You lose. Everybody, you win some, you lose some, right? No, not for the Sphinx. So, Oedipus comes into Thebes and says, hey, I have just, conquered the Sphinx. Everything's cool. And the queen of Thebes says, oh, just like an answer to our prayers. Also, we owe you so much. Would you like to just be king? Because our king recently died. Our king has died. And with the kingdom, you get me. You can marry me. And so he does. Yay. Unfortunately, the former king and the queen of Thebes had a son once upon a time, and they consulted an oracle about it, and the oracle said, your son will kill his father and marry his mother. So they did what every good Greek family does. They threw the baby out. And what happens to every Greek baby happened to this child. It got picked up and taken by a shepherd to the king and queen of Corinth, who didn't have any children. This is the story that everyone would know. This is the story that Oedipus does not know at the beginning of the play. And when a plague and some problems come to Thebes, they want to find out what's the problem, what's the deal, what's wrong with Thebes, what's going wrong, what is somebody being naughty in Thebes? We need to find out. So that sets the stage. So the question, what did he do wrong? You already see this. Did he do it willingly or unwillingly? You already see this. Could it have been avoided? Well, you don't know yet.
You told me he killed the king. He just went around killing people. So.
Well, okay, there's that. If somebody whacks you with a stick, maybe you should just hold on to your temper. But after you read the play, I want you to think about that further. Could it have been avoided? And I guess the question hasn't been answered. What did he do wrong? What did he do wrong? That's it. That is the question that's going to be on the table. What did he do wrong? Yeah, that's all I want to say about that. Does anybody have a question, a comment? Anything? All right, we're good. Looks like the rain has stopped. Turn this off.